Welcome to the Journey Mindfulness Podcast, where the inner world meets the infinite. I'm James O'Neill, and together we explore consciousness, the soul, mindfulness, and the mysteries beyond our world, and most importantly, how to integrate all of it into the life you're living right now. Today on the Journey Mindfulness Podcast, we're diving deep into channeling and awakening with Peter DeBenedittis, founder of Becoming Awesome, a PhD, educator, and a gifted channel of a number of things, but Archangel Michael, the Pleiadians, especially Myra. Peter shares powerful insights on releasing limits and embodying your higher self. Get ready to explore what it truly means to become awesome. Peter, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
James, thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm so excited to reach out to everyone who's watching and listening. Blessings on you.
Yeah, thank you very much. You've described November's energies as a wake-up call, a moment to shift or stagnate, expand or repeat. What are the key choices humanity is being asked to make right now?
So right now, the energy on the planet has been shifting for quite some time, but there's enough critical mass that's taken place that November, with all the energies, the 3-eye Atlas Comet and the portal of 1111 and all this stuff, are creating a big window. And the bottom line is manifestation is getting easier. The ability to move through different timelines is getting easier because the veils are getting thinner. And because of this, your unconscious is going to come to the forefront, whatever you're holding. See, the law of attraction is quite true, but they don't really tell you that it's your unconscious that's creating almost all of it. In fact, for most people, we don't understand that we're just a bunch of unconscious programs running, and that's why our life is the way it is. So because manifestation is easier, in this month particularly, there's been a step up in the energy. A lot of what we're holding unconsciously is going to come forward. And a lot of people have not dealt with their unconscious. There's a lot of suppressed grief and guilt and shame and anger. So what's going to happen? We manifest grief and guilt and shame and anger. And so this is the opportunity to say, oh, I'm a God creator being. I'm a God source being. And what's going on around me is nothing victimhood. It's a creation, and it's a creation that I've unknowingly allowed. And as we move forward, this is the choice that's going to be presented very, very clearly in front of you. And the energy is going to intensify for a couple of months, November and into the early part of December. Then it's going to level off. You get a chance to breathe and go, it's going to step up again. So this is the time to do your work or take a pummeling.
Well, I've definitely noticed some stuff coming up, and definitely just, I mean, personally, like around, like you talked about shame, but like, it's just like, oh my God, like these things are like bubbling up. It's like, all right, you got to deal with this stuff. And like, it requires you to really look at it and choose to, are you going to allow that to control you? Or are you going to expand and grow?
Yeah, see, it's like so funny. I was discussing with my wife and a couple of friends last night about who we work with. And we're talking about it's so much easier when you're with somebody who understands that this whole game that we're playing is authority, claiming your inner authority, your God-given right to express as you choose and be, versus the victimhood thing. And there's so many people who are raised in the Western culture. You're sick, you see a doctor. They work it out. You have emotions, you go get, some grief counseling, and that's it. Okay, so it's like, go see somebody else and they take care of it for you. Now, seeing somebody else is great. They can help you, they can facilitate it. But the whole game is understanding, I'm the master of this creation. Okay, am I going to own the responsibility for what has been created? And that then gives you the power to create something you want, instead of keeping unconsciously creating what you don't want.
Yeah, I mean, that's the wildest thing about it. You talk about the law of manifestation, or just we're constantly selecting, to choose a different term, with our thoughts and the programs that we're running, and we don't always pay attention to that, but that's part of the work, is starting to see like I'm choosing, like I'm creating all of these things around me that, and some of them I don't like a lot.
Yeah,
And
that's the whole thing. That's what Ascension is understanding that you're choosing it. And you know, we live in a world of contrast. That's what 3D is. It's contrast. So you get to see your creations. In the past, it was a long delay. Now it's getting faster and faster, and right away you're wake up. This is what I'm creating, and then you either own it or not.
yeah, and that's really, a big part of this podcast, Peter, is really getting people to be like, you can shift out of that. Like you're not stuck.
That's why I love what you do. That's why I love what you do. My wife Tracy and I, we created the Becoming Awesome website, and we have tools. We have a free 14-day program. It's really 14 lessons to kind of teach this, and then also teach you the skill of how to identify and release and replace those unconscious suppressed things, because that's what's not out there is the skill set. So that's available. We also do sessions by donations 3 days a week by donation. So it's not like we're just trying to take your money. Of course, we want you to make a huge donation, but that's not the issue. The issue is, what's available in your means, and is there someone who can help you? And then we're not like the doctor who's going to give you a pill. We're the coach who's going to help you explore what's inside, and then sometimes even sit with you, because when two people are holding the energy of the grief or the sadness or the anger, you know that old saying in the Bible, when two or more are gathered in my name. Okay, so when you have somebody helping you with this kind of stuff, then it's like, oh, I can do this. I make these transformations. So just wanted to put a plug in becomingawesome.one if you want kind of assistance with that or coaching on how to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really important what you just said, because, as a therapist, a lot of times I work with a lot of guys, and we have a hard time asking for help, and we want to do it by ourselves. But if you can let your guard down and open up and allow someone to sit with you, you can move a lot of energy and
Yeah.
gain a lot of
Yeah.
ground.
So I love what you're doing is you've got as I understand it, the classical training in therapy. And man, there's therapists who saved my life, but it was like a huge shift when I got to the point where I was no longer hitting up the therapist as the release, or hitting up the therapist as, oh, this is going to help me cope for another week, or hitting up the therapist, so, oh, this is going to get me to solve the problems. It was a huge shift when I got to, wow, it's between me and God now. And a therapist can help give me suggestions within that framework. So it was like I needed all that therapy for a long time to get to claim that sovereignty. And now I still reach out to people like you who are more conscious, because sometimes, the doing it alone thing is like you're saying, it's like, no, that's not the issue anymore. It's can you move into the oneness field? Are you doing this as the totality of yourself and everybody else?
Yeah, absolutely. And you talk a lot about awareness, which I really love, because I think and maybe this is a part of your program as well, but you spoke of like the stair step of awareness and manifestation, release, and advancement. So maybe you can talk about how mindfulness weaves into that.
Yeah. So one of my greatest teachers, and this was a great being. I mean, we can accept that there was Christ on the planet. We know people like Buddha and Muhammad and other great teachers have been on the planet, but we often have trouble accepting that there are great beings, consciousness so big that are on the planet now. And there's quite a few of them. And I've been lucky to meet a couple of them and study with one of them. And Bhagavan, he said, awareness is the first step. Awareness is the last step. And I was like a Zen koan. What the hell does that mean? Okay. but really it is the foundation of everything. It's like it's all the game is awareness, because awareness is what propels creation. Awareness is what allows you to see what it is you're holding inside, so that unconscious stuff that you were unaware of is no longer attracting what you don't want. Yeah, so it's all the awareness game.
It's fascinating. So oh gosh, it's been a while now, but I went on a silent meditation retreat, probably 12, 15 years ago.
Oh,
And
that'll open you up.
That opens you up because when you start looking inward, right? Not going out to the hospital to get an MRI. When you start looking in and doing your own MRI and with meditation and you start to see what you're holding in your body, it was mind blowing. Like, oh my gosh, I'm holding on to this. You know, some of it was like self-hatred or guilt or resentment. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
I wish I didn't know, but now that I do know it, I can work on it. I can
Right,
work
right. And
slowly.
in the November energy update that's on our YouTube channel, Becoming Awesome, or at Tracy_Peter, uh, the third part of the November energy is critical to what you just said, James, and that is self-forgiveness is the biggest key there is this month. Can you love yourself? I mean, oh, because it's like the veils are so thin and I've practiced so much awareness. I'm going through lists of, oh God, I was 15. I did this to this person. It was horrible. And then I did this and it was even worse. And, every little bit in your life, hundreds of these just pop up every day. And it's no longer the guilt or the shame or the healing. It's, can I love myself for being the person who in that moment did these other things that I judged and caused pain, right? And that's where the healing takes place. And that's where we're going to get to. And so I just want to put that out there. So it's, yeah, there's a lot of work, but the end result of all this is self-love. And can you just love yourself regardless of what it is you're uncovering?
Yeah. And even get to the point where you are, I was trying to think of this earlier because I had listened to that. It's the intention, right? Like I'm going to choose to forgive myself. And then even with the intention, the effort that goes into that, someone asked me somewhat recently, like, oh, because I work mostly with men and I've gone through a divorce, have you forgiven, yourself and them for whatever happened? And it was like, I think I finally got to that point, but it took a while. Even though I had intended to do it, it still took effort and time.
Oh, yeah. Forgiveness was the biggest conundrum in my life for the longest time, right? So, because like we're taught forgiveness and we know it's good, but forgiveness doesn't mean squat when you're still holding pain and stuff like that. You can say all the words, but it doesn't change anything. Okay. So, what is
Mhm.
really this forgiveness? I was finally taught, and I'm a super big believer in this, and this isn't everything that I try to teach. I was finally taught that anything fully expressed turns to bliss. Okay. So when there's a full expression of an experience, which is the emotional part and the physical part, because we're in a physical bodies, not just mental awareness, you physically let it out with sound and movement, then the energy dissipates and you're in the bliss state. And once you start to feel the pain that was caused, whether it was caused to you or you caused it to somebody else, it doesn't matter. Once you can feel that pain, that energy is dissipated. And when the energy is dissipated, there's nothing left to forgive. And that was like, what? Okay, but you have to go through it. And it means actually, oh, I did this horrible thing to you. I'm going to suffer for the pain. You don't have to do it forever, a few minutes, a few moments, whatever. You usually have to do the magnitude of the pain. It's not duration, it's magnitude. If it was really a big hurt, you have to hurt really big for a brief period of time. It can be over in seconds, but the magnitude makes the difference. So if I can feel the pain I caused you and really feel it, I mean, oh, feel it, okay, then there's nothing left to forgive. And then when you say the words and do the outreach, we do this process in classes that we teach, the parenting process. And it's super fundamental because your parents is your primary relationship. And if you clear out that relationship, all your other relationships fall into place. Okay. And so every time I teach in a class, it's like a weekend, a 2-day weekend, and we do the parenting process on the first day. And on the next morning, I always ask the class, anything happen overnight? All right. And everybody, every class, not everybody, but every class has at least one and usually several people who say things like, wow, I haven't talked to my parents in 4 years and they called me up. Or, I just felt this release and then all of a sudden I got a text. And I mean, once we were doing this for children to healing relations for your children, and this lady is like jumping up and down at the end of the process. My daughter, who hasn't spoken to me in 2 years, texted me in the middle of this process. And it's like crazy. The energy shifts, you release it, And then all of a sudden the world is different and the people who you had these problems with are different. And it's just such a beautiful thing. So that's a key understanding. The way I approach forgiveness is like anything fully expressed turns to bliss. Own your role in it, express fully what was created, whether it was created and given to you as you were the receiver of the pain or you were the one causing the pain. Fully experience it. And then forgiveness has automatically taken place.
You know, if I could just hit that on replay over and over again for people to hear, because it's so important, right? Like the moment you start to do this, like it dissipates, it dissolves, like until you have done that and you feel that. Because a lot of times people ask me, like, well, how will I know if it worked? And I'm like, you will feel it. Like you can't help but notice
Damn
it.
straight.
It's
Totally
so
true.
palpable. And you can't fake it.
Yeah. And it's so different than journal about it or write them a letter but don't send it, all that kind of stuff that people do to try to process their grief or their pain, and clearly forgiveness is the end point. And sadly especially in the religions that put that front and center, they never teach you the mechanism of forgiveness. They just act like you're supposed to do it and say the words and then it's all better. Just act like the adult here. It's like, no, act like the kid and cry it out here. Then, then you'll have the forgiveness.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, it's just a really important point. Like when you start, resolving, say shame or fear, the people around you adjust. It's like this magic that takes place. It's remarkable.
Yeah, it's a beautiful gift we've been given. And it's kind of, see, that's what this whole ascension time is. We're entering the golden age, okay? And the energy is changing on the planet. People would not be attending to your podcast if they weren't aware something was up, right? We all know something's up, okay? And the key to all this is understanding the rules of how it works. And those rules of how it work is, wow, you're the creator being here. And another important rule is your insides always match your outsides 100% of the time because of the law of attraction. Okay. So if stuff is going on around you that's quite negative or sad, or, you're worried about money or whatever, then that's going on inside you. That means that you're holding in a suppressed state. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve. I'm not worthy, blah, 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 blah. All the stuff we were raised with unconsciously and told, grow up now, don't pay attention to that. That must be cleared. And when you get deeply into it, you understand you're not just clearing this life. This is what freaks people out. When does this end? It's like, well, how many times have you been incarnate on the planet? Right? How much are you really clearing? You just chose this life again because your insides always match your outsides to give you one more opportunity. That now, because of the energies of ascension, grace is present. You can do all your lifetimes in a single go, but you got to be dedicated in your single lifetime. And like the old teachings, like, some of the Tibetan teachings, spend 17 lifetimes working through your karma, and then you can be enlightened. And they were great. They got enlightened beings and masters and everything, but they did it over 17 lifetimes. Okay. Now it's like you're given the gift to do it in one, but that means we're really going into everything you're holding. And the starting point of that everything you're holding is your insides always match your outsides. So just look at what's going on around you and go, okay, that's happening there. Means it's happening here inside me. Let me deal with it. And then again, the process is just the same. You put your awareness on it, then you fully express what's there. And of course, one thing that's super important that a lot of New Age coaches don't tell you is never take something out without putting something better back in. And that's something you do. That's something you do with spirit. Okay, God. Okay, source. You're with me now. Give me the good stuff. Literally, just say, I want to be filled with auspicious qualities. Or if you're all left-brained, you can lay out a list of everything you want. But it's easier to just say, hey, spirit, unconscious, you know what I need. Give it to me now. All right. And
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a
So
good
this
point.
is just,
So you're sweeping things out, you're
yeah.
tidying things up, but also like if you're going to get rid of things, bring in something better or good in.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to be clear about you not getting rid of anything. You're fully expressing what the dense energy that was not released before. It's not the game is to get rid of it. I don't want this. Get out of here. It is I welcome you pain. I welcome you sadness until you fully feel it, which literally only takes a moment or two if you can go 100% in. most of the suffering that people experience is the avoidance of the pain, not the pain. The pain is transient. It'll be done in a moment or two if you can fully get into it. But we've been trained so much to suffer that that becomes our normal way of being. So when I say get rid of things, I'm not saying avoid it, ignore it. I'm saying fully experience it so the energy is now released. That's the
Yeah.
get rid of.
Yeah. It's thank you for clarifying that, but for people, don't be afraid. Like the pain, it's when you stop avoiding it that you start to make such great progress.
Yeah, when I work with people, I'm like, okay, we're gonna jump in the tiger's mouth now. Let it rip you apart. And they're like, "Ah." Like, yeah, but hey, I'm with you, and I'm an empath. I mean, sometimes I do sessions with people, James, and as soon as the Zoom meeting starts, they just cry, and we'll just cry for 20 or 30 minutes, and that's the whole session because my field's open enough from practicing this regularly. I'm an empath now, and so suddenly, when you're in the field of somebody who's looser because they've done their release work, okay, done their shadow work, then just comes right out of you. And so that you don't have to talk through it, don't have to explain it. A lot of times it just happens. Other times I'm holding their hand and coaching them and saying, okay, take a breath, focus here, make a sound, any sound. Come on, don't just sit there, make a sound. Come on, I'll help you.
That's so interesting. But like your embodied presence being on that call or with that person can help facilitate that. That's truly incredible.
Yeah, you experience this, I'm sure. It's like when you got a good relationship with one of your clients, I'm sure that it's because they start the session with you, something shifts in them because they're in your energy field and you're a guy who understands that. And that's just where we're all headed.
Yes. And I also want to clarify when you said we're going to go into the tiger's mouth, what you realize is that the fear of all that was usually just fear. You get through it and then you're like, "Oh my God, I'm still here. Nothing happens."
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think my favorite saying ever was one of the monks who taught me. He goes, "You know how it's like peeling layers of an onion?" And we all go, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, when you get to the center of the onion, there's nothing there, but you cried a lot."
yeah. I've not heard that before. That's cool. That's so interesting. Well, so this shift is happening. This ascension is happening. You kind of have to be living under a rock to not be paying attention to it one way or another. My father, who doesn't pay attention to any of this, asked me the other day, "What's going on with Three Eye Atlas? Have you heard of this?" And I'm like, "Yes, but I'm so shocked that you're bringing it up to me and asking me this question." So, because of his curiosity, Peter, I want to ask you, what's your current take on what's going on with Three Eye Atlas, and how it is impacting the shift right now?
Okay, so first of all, let me explain what I know. And then if you're interested, I will attempt to channel it.
Okay.
Because it's like recently I've been channeling like lakes and stuff. So why not let's channel a comet? Come on.
Yeah, you have yeah, if you can tune into that. I mean, like that's one of the things that's unique with you, I think.
Yeah, see, I'm different than other channelers in that because I've done my release work, my field is really big, and so now it's a matter of whatever I put my focus on, I can connect to. So if it's an entity or a being like an angel or a Pleiadian or something, it's easy. You just talk to them. All right, but if it's what we would call in 3D an inanimate object, well, anything in reality is consciousness plus energy. It cannot drop into reality unless consciousness and energy shapes the form and powers it. Okay. So when I'm in the oneness field, which is the whole game, you get into the oneness field, I can put my focus on it and then I can sense the energy. Now the game becomes since I don't speak comet, the game becomes okay, I'm in this energy field, I'm sensing these things. What 3D human words have I learned that I can use to describe it? So that's the
Yeah.
yeah. So first, let me just tell you, uh, so when I tapped in before, I got the sense that this was Andromedan in origin. And you got to understand that the Earth experiment is incredibly huge. This is the first time in our universe where we're trying to do several things all at once. One of them is to bring a whole planet into an awakening state almost simultaneously. It's really a span of several hundred years, but on the galactic scale of eons and billions of years, that's nothing. Okay. The second thing is we're trying to bring humanity into a state of embodied 4 and 5D. You can be embodied in 5D, but in 4D, okay, all right. And that's why you got some of the aliens that you can see sometimes and sometimes you can't. But in 5D, they miss a lot of the physicality that we miss. All right. So the really higher energy beings on up do not have the physicality we have. So if we go skydiving, you get to go, oh, I'm sailing, I'm flying, I feel it. They don't get that. Okay. So what the experiment was to create the ability to have the expanded 5D consciousness where you're connected with everything in love and have the physicality of experience of this creation. All right. You know the stories. It's always everything in heaven is white and they play harp music and it gets really boring. Okay. So they're trying to say, no, look, come on, let's do it. So to get to the earth plane, you got denser. All right. And the density meant a couple things. One is you were forgetting things. And this was by design because you needed to have your free will. Okay. And then it seems like it's the law of physics and all that other stuff, the cause and effect and everything that we all learned growing up. Okay. And that's great. But you don't get to do both of them simultaneously. Okay. And so the Earth experiment was to try to move us into this place where we ascend in a body instead of it's like it is in the Bible when Ezekiel or Christ and those guys leave, they leave their bodies behind to be an embodied master, not an ascended master, and to do this across billions of people. That's the Earth experiment. And we're going to be successful more than ever before this time. This is actually the 5th time. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay. So,
yeah.
Having said all that, the whole galaxy universe is excited about what's going on Earth, and they know that this is coming for a long time. All right. In their sense, there is no time like in our sense. So it's now for them. Okay. But in our physical time, they had to get a comet eons ago, steer it, direct it, and then embed it with energetic light code frequencies so that when it passed here, we'd get whatever we got. I mean, this is the kind of beneficence and help we're getting. It's not just angels. It's like everybody in the galaxy is doing this. And the 3I Atlas is one example of it. And so I get excited about this stuff, but I don't get too excited like you'll see on YouTube. This is the one, everything changes now. Not really. This is one of thousands. And you can make it a big deal. But if you make it, oh, it's going to be better now without doing your internal work, you'll just be disappointed that you're not getting it. And also the big thing in spirit, very big thing to understand, soon is a 4-letter word. Okay. Because they don't do the same time scale we do. All right. Having said all that, we're in this galactic wobble, which was from about the harmonic convergence in the late 70s, and it's going to go until the 2030s, okay? And we're coming to the tail end of the galactic wobble. During this period, it's a big wobble. It's a 26,000-year cycle. The galaxy doesn't just spin, it actually wobbles, okay? And we're in that sweet spot where we're closest to the central sun, so the energies are strongest, and therefore the most encoding and reprogramming on an energetic level can take place. All right. And that's why 3I Atlas has been sent here to come at this time to help with this. And it's going to activate a lot of codes. My wife said she was channeling it the other day, and she said, like, so what? You're carrying light codes. Everybody's got light codes. So what? Is that going to be practical? What's going to happen? And the comet said to her, yeah, it's going to change your optics. You're going to start to see things on the light spectrum that you were previously unable to see with your eyes. So you're going to see a lot of energetic transmission, that you're going to see the energies now. And it's also going to help, like, for instance, both my wife and I and many of the masters that we've worked with can do what's called eye diksha. We can transmit through our eyes energetic blessings. So that's going to get stronger and it's going to be more commonplace. So those are the main activations that I understand are coming through.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not a little deal, but again, it's just one of the incredible amount of help. So now if you wish, I'll try to check into the comet's energy and channel it. And I have to get past my own bias, because when I first heard about it, I was picturing Atlas holding up the sky, the old Greek thing, except he had 3 eyes in him. And I'm like, that's silly. Get rid of that. It's going to mess up the whole connection. So here we go.
Thank you. Yeah, welcome.
Peter, and all those who are attending this message, we are so grateful for this moment. Understand that what is being channeled now is not just the consciousness of what you would call Three-Eye Atlas. It is also of the progenitors who created and overlaid the energy here, what you would call the Andromedans. So, first of all, greetings. Second of all, can we start the party now? You've been waiting. It's like you ordered food and you're hungry for the delivery man to get there. We are one of those delivery people who are carrying this energetic boost. Okay. Yes, it is correct what you said about your wife as far as the optics, but there's more than just the light codes affecting your ability to sense light. You are aware of your DNA strands. Science is starting to see that there's maybe more than two. Occasionally they're worried that they get three or something like that. And, you got 12. And as you start to understand your quantum physics, you realize that, those other active strands are what allow you to operate in the higher frequencies. They're not active in your 3D yet because that is what keeps you focused here on Earth as opposed to all expansive and, in the happy bliss state. Now, what is going to be happening now is in the experiment of humanity to move into embodied states of these higher energies, these light codes will have to start showing up. And your science, as it gets more perceptive and particularly starts using quantum scanning abilities, are going to start to see these strands of DNA activate. Light is only one of them. The others that are activating are going to be your intuition. You have this already. You all call it your gut feeling. You put it all there, okay? And you know that when you sense something, this is going to become so importantly amplified because it's going to be the precursor to changing your political systems. When you start to sense there's something not right with this candidate, there's something not right with this whole election thing where I'm only given this limited range of choices and I'm told somehow it's my duty and I'm a bad person if I don't choose between the lesser of two evils, ignoring the fact that, the word evil was used to describe both of them. This is going to change. And as your perception changes, what's going to be acceptable in your culture, in your business transactions, in the things you market, in the consequence. Oh, it's not just us, our goal. What is it in your society? Everything used to be if you made money, it was okay. Now it's like, what about the end product, the waste, all the follow-up that's caused by creating this product? All of that you're going to have more awareness of. Your intuition is going to start telling you that this is not helpful in the way you've been doing it for moving into higher realms. It's been beautiful in the way you've been doing it if you want to stay where you're at. So as you get these awarenesses, you're going to make these shifts. This is the triggers that will happen in your DNA, not just the light, but in your intuition.
Wow.
Yeah,
Fascinating.
I'm on board. More, please. Thank you.
So it's really kicking off this I don't know, catalyst, this energy in our gifts. That's truly fascinating.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. You get sense of things. Everybody gets those synchronicities where, for me, it started off as I felt like I'm late to go and I need to leave, but for some reason I delay and then the phone rings and I get the important phone call. So I intuitively knew I needed to hang around for the phone call. I just didn't understand it. Now it's a lot clearer. It's just like, oh, I'm waiting for something, and
Yeah.
that's going to happen to everybody on every level and society will change.
Well, I think a lot of people are welcoming that. Certainly appreciate that, you connecting with Three-Eye Atlas and doing that. I haven't heard of anyone else doing that yet, to my knowledge. I know a lot of people have remote viewed it, but
Yeah, it's like, see, we're going to the place where the game is you access the oneness field. People call it the quantum field, whatever. Once you're in the oneness field, it's a matter of focus. Whatever you focus on with your awareness, then you're connected to, and then it's a matter of whether you can describe it or whatever. That's how remote viewing is done. That's how all channeling is done. That's why I can channel any entity instead of just one, is because I approach it from the field, and then I'm like at a cocktail party. Ooh, I want to talk to you. Okay, that kind of stuff. So the game is going to be learning how to get into the oneness field. And that's going to be super important. And that is pretty much the goal of the Ascension, is realizing that you're an aspect of the divine, you're an aspect of the one with this unique consciousness focal point that you call yourself.
Yeah. When I first heard of the Andromedans, I was like, well, who are the Andromedans?
Right. Yeah. They're kind of the whiter ones. It's like they're showing me now, if you remember the Star Trek, those ones with the two stalks and their faces were white and their hair was green. They said, no, we don't have the green here. We are whiter. We're not the tall whites, but we're similar to that. And we don't really have stalks, although we do have sensory organs on the top of our heads. And this is the first time I've channeled Andromedans too. So there you go.
Yeah. Fascinating. Fascinating. Now, as everyone's involved in it though, right? Like Andromedans, Pleiadians,
Yeah.
Arcturians.
So what's going on is the human experiment has got a lot of help from a lot of different realms. So there are those who are the physical ones who are in the 4D entities. All right. And those are the ones that we can identify from different star systems. So there's everybody you just said. They're part of it. But there's also a lot of the different energetic realms. Okay. The higher densities that are not physically incarnate. The angels are involved. Okay. Some really super high level beings. The clerics, the Celestines, and they're all helpful. And they're starting to reveal themselves, dropping into lower density. I want to talk about one particular collective that's been involved, and it comes up on a special event that we're going to be doing on 11/11. And I think you graciously agreed that you'll put some links in and some pictures. So if you want to jump, it's a free event, free. Okay. And I want to talk about the Dragon Collective. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
please do.
first of all, we all got dragons in our myths, but we think because it's a myth, it's not a thing. All right. Well, the dragon energy was part of the group that got together and say, let's do the Earth experiment. Okay. And see what we can create here. And before I talk about the dragons, I want to talk about the Earth experiment.
Okay.
So this is humanity's fifth go at this. We've tried this 4 other times and we're not successful how to do it. And we know some of them. We know the extinction events, right? We know Atlantis was the most recent one. We know Lemurian was before that, but we don't know about the 2 goes much before that. If you look at Graham Hancock's work, you'll see that some of his archaeology goes back way past what we consider when Hawaii was fully a continent and not sunk yet, right? Goes way, way back there. The Dragon Collective were involved at the very beginning, and they were here during our second go round, even before Lemuria. Okay. And that's why we have them in our mythos, in our consciousness. Now, like anything, those who win the war write the history. All right. And there's been conflict in humanity. Let's face it, we got conflict now. That's a thing. We've got a lot of different competing species and energy groups trying to create this Earth experiment. There's a lot of people who have skin in the game. And they'll say, oh, well, my DNA was manipulated. Of course it was. It was put together by a whole collective of people just so we could be us. So that's super cool. But anyway, the Dragon Collective was involved in this. All right. And they got the short end of the stick because they were the forceful group. They were the ones, go get it. We got this energy. Right. And the worst of the Dragon Collective, all right, not from them, but from their lineage, would be what we call the Dracos in the galactic scheme. And those were the nasty ones who did a lot of stuff and a lot of damage on Earth for a long time and have recently been moved off the planet. But, their minions, the psychopaths who are still running corporations and a lot of political governments are still here. Okay, that's what we're clearing out now. Anyway, the dragons that's why they got the short end of the stick. They got pointed, let's put them with pointy ears and make them look like Satan and all that other stuff and make them seem bad and greedy and stuff like that. When in reality, they're just trying to help you accept that you are a powerful creative being and you've got this energy in you, and that what we choose as right and wrong is not handed out by one side or another. It's not the commandments like we were given. It's your own personal relationship with the divine. Are you right with it? Are you okay with what you're doing? And if you're in the oneness field, that means you feel the consequence of what you're doing. All right. So it's no longer just guided codes, because we see this all the time. Thou shalt not kill. And it's like interspersed with, oh, and then they smoked these people and they brought the walls down here and then they turned these other ones into salt in the same breath as thou shalt not kill. All right. And so that's what we're kind of dealing with. And they're saying, look, it's not like that. And that's why they were on the losing end of the stick, because the one side was, you must have rules and follow it. And the other side is, no, you've got this inner authority. You must claim it. All right. So anyway, the dragons have been quiet for a while, but they're coming back. So I had a friend, and he's just a trippy dude. You'll meet him if you show up on the 11th and come to that Zoom link. It's at 6 o'clock Eastern, or excuse me, 6 o'clock Mountain Time. That's 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on 11/11. It's a free meditation, and we're going to activate dragon energy, the dragon portal. So I got this friend, Daryl Ang, and he's just so trippy. When I entered his field and started looking at his past, this is the first time he's been incarnate in a body. I'm like, whoa, but he's still a really old soul. He's just been on the energetic side. And part of his connection is with the dragons and stuff. And so he said, look, I've been called to go to Machu Picchu and I'm going to do some energy work there. And I said, oh, by the way, the Dragon Collective wants you to know that they may reveal themselves to you there. And so he actually got a picture. And this is the first time that a picture, any sighting has been made and reported publicly since before Lemuria. So this is a sign of how big the change is taking place that's going on right now.
And then, yeah, I don't know if you're watching this, put this photo up.
Yeah, good. I'm going to send you that photo and you can put that up and blow it up and everything. All right, so he also went to a Stargate, and it's a recognizable place. I forget the name right now. That was not too far from Machu Picchu in Peru. And when he was there, he had a crystal in his pocket, and he got the sense he needed to put this crystal right in the notch that was carved in this door. And then he started having visions of a glyph forming. So he started making these things. And all of a sudden, the dragons were coming through and say, good, this is the activation we need. We want to give this to humanity. Daryl, you're going to be our bridge. And I'm like, cool. So he's going to get, I've got everybody I know who's interested in dragons or in just expanding consciousness, getting together on the 11th to sit there and do as a group the process that he did to make your own personal connections, to bring that fire and that passion and that creative ability to be activated in you at this time, all the courage and the strength that's available if you view yourself as a dragon. And so, yeah, I just want to put in a plug for that. And just, when you get to the looking at the pictures, you can sit there and go, holy cow, what is this?
And what does, that bringing in that energy, that power, that creator or creative energy, but that can help, harness and start manifestation in our life in a positive way?
Mostly manifestation. And we're worried about it because, the dragon's got such a bad rap, and we think, oh, it's going to be evil or something. And it's not really like that. See, when you get to the realms of oneness and into the higher realms, there's no more duality. There's no more good and bad. That's the biggest thing that's been keeping humanity stuck for a long time. These are the right rules. You must follow them. Okay. There's only your ability to discern, and your ability to discern means, are you connected in the field and feeling the consequence of your action to another? So you're either in service to self or you're in service to all living beings, the divine. Okay. And so therefore you don't go out and step on bugs for the joy of stepping on bugs, because you feel the pain of being crushed. All right. And so that's what it is. So this whole idea, positive and negative, who knows? It's a free will planet. Who knows what's going to come from it? What's going to come from it is the understanding of humanity, that I have a piece of God in me and I can start to do things. And this piece of God, we call it the burning flame, right? That's what Saint Germain calls it, the burning flame. Moses saw it as the burning bush. All right. The dragons just say, it's your breath of fire. In fact, in Latin, spirit, spiritu, literally means breath. Okay. So that's what it is you're going to start breathing with fire. So your passion level will go up, and then your manifestation abilities will be increased by it. And then your connectedness to the field, because you cannot have these abilities without the connectedness to the field. The beings who were kind of the negative ones, the Dracos and 4D and stuff like that, they can only go so far because they weren't able to get fully into the oneness field. So yes, they had fantastic science and skills and abilities, but they were capped at higher 4D, right? And because they could not connect, and that's why they were always service to self instead of service to all that is. We're moving into 5D. So you can do anything you want with this power. And what you do with it is going to choose whether or not you move into the higher realms or not.
Yeah. So you've spoken about like parallel timelines becoming more accessible and the importance of choosing the one aligned with your higher self. I mean, it sounds like, I guess my question is, how does someone practically choose a timeline? But is this, perhaps energy that you could use along those lines?
Yeah. So it's really, so I'm not masterful and skillful enough to just pick my timeline and pop into it. Okay. But I am masterful and skillful enough to understand what I'm going to tell you now. Most of it happens unconsciously. The timeline you're in now, your world is your creation, period. Now, as you lighten up your load, like we started this conversation with, releasing and expressing what you're holding inside you so that you're no longer holding the negative densities, then you naturally attract, law of attraction, the timeline you want to do. And then as you get skillful at that, you start to put your focus on it. And you start saying things like, wouldn't it be nice to have this trip? Boom, somebody calls you up and say, I got tickets. And it's really, I work with people all the time and they're like, you mean it's just like magic? Yeah, pretty much. I've seen it. Other people have seen it. So that's where we're going to get. I'm not to the point yet where I can actually call it down. All right. You know, those are Christ level skills, right? Sai Baba, make jewels come out of your hands. But I'm at the level now where I can put my focus on it and then boom, it shows up in my life within a period of time. I think Joe Dispenza teaches it in his whole going to know thing and build a symbol and hold it. I think that's what he's teaching.
Well, and then Dean Radin just wrote a book, just came out a couple weeks ago, I think, The Science of Magic, and sort of
Oh,
like putting, really like hard science behind the psi phenomena and how like the interworkings of law of manifestation or selection and how that plays out. It's super fascinating. I highly recommend the book. I've read it a couple times already.
very cool. Yeah, it's starting to go mainstream. I sent a paper into not a paper, a workshop proposal into the Science of Consciousness conference. It's happening next spring. University of Arizona, Stuart Hammerhoff actually heads a whole department there on consciousness science. And so more and more people are starting to accept that this is a thing and showing proof of it. So I'm so glad that Dean's bringing a book to bring this information to the public.
Yeah, I mean, it's super fascinating. I mean, you declared it, right? Like the law of manifestation is real. But when you actually practice certain things and things happen to you and you're like, oh, this is the framework of how that happens. Like this
Yeah.
actually is a thing. Like once you have that experience, it's not wishful thinking. You're not, whatever. It's, it's a part of how you know how to operate within this field, this matrix, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Let me
What else? Oh, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I would just the pace of all of this can feel a little bit overwhelming. How can listeners stay sort of balanced and grounded at these higher frequencies as these things happen, or three eye Alice, you know,
Oh,
triggers all these things?
James, you're talking to the wrong guy. I'm like, jump in, jump off the cliff, go on. So, but I actually did want to tell you about something. And so we're about 5 months away. Tracy and I and a team are about 5 months away from releasing a full program that's going to be app based or web based on Ascension. And when I say a full
Hmm.
program, it's going to come in 3 levels. We're going to release the first level in March, and that's going to be like a college semester. There's going to be like 60 recorded teachings and processes and 15 processes and all kinds of energetic transmission. So it's recommended you spend about 6 months on it. And so the Spirit's been under very clear instructions. Peter, you want to serve, this is the biggest way you can use your skills. And I love it because the more I choose to use my skills this way, the more skills Spirit gives me. Law of attraction. Okay. So the whole thing is, relatively soon, in 6 months of practice, you can move from just an awareness that these kinds of things are possible to having abilities like channeling, to 24/7 conscious contact with your higher self, your sacred higher self, to the discernment we were talking about, automatic knowing, just downloading information. These kinds of skills are real. Okay. And I'm excited that this is very soon it's going to be available to the masses, because that's the question you just asked. Okay, how do you get there? All right. And so far it's all been piecemeal. All right, or you go for months at a time and study with a guru or a master or something like that. But in today's crazy world, you're holding jobs and doing stuff. Time for an app where you can do it at your own time, at your own pace, and still get all the good stuff. I'm excited. That's coming down the pipe here very soon.
What do you think people need to know that are kind of maybe on the sidelines or not fully understanding what awakening or ascension is right now? Like what do you think they might need to hear?
Inner authority. Inner authority. I am a God source energy being. Can I express all this without guilt or shame? Can I do what I choose to do, not worrying about what everybody tells me, what I think I'm supposed to do or anything? Can I be authentic in my expression and my life? Okay. Everybody craves for that. We crave freedom, right? We crave it. Those who are scared want, somebody to control us and tell us what to do, mainly because they're scared. Help me with my fear. Okay, I'll help you with your fear. I'll just set everything up for you and take your authority. Okay. So, yeah. So, when you're asking, how do you ground all this? And it's like, you don't. You just accept that you're moving to a new neighborhood and things are different. And yes, you still keep your life. You keep all your treasured possessions when you move, just cut ties and go there. You take your treasured possession, but you realize everything you take with you from your past is a limitation of how things were. And the whole thing is, are you willing to have an adventure where each and every moment is beyond your imagination and expanded in ways that are impossible? I did not know I'd be talking about dragons a year ago, like it's a thing, and like I'm seeing pictures of them. I'm going to help facilitate. It's crazy, right? And that was only a
I
year
hear you.
ago. I got skills, and that was only a year ago. Before that, I didn't know I was going to be working on an app to try to teach thousands of people to get to these places. It's all an adventure of what you open yourself up to. So the question is, how much do you want? Do you want to work the job from certain hours and then come home and watch the TV and say, that's my life, I had a good day? Or do you want something else? And if you want something else, the rules are changing. It's limitless what's available to you now.
I was gonna ask one more question, but I think that's a powerful way to end here. Um,
I'm with you, James. Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you for the ability to share this. There's so many people who are ready, and I'm urging you. If you can make it on, I know you're only gonna have a day's warning or so to make it on the 11th. Be there. Use the link there. Becomingawesome.one is our website. If you need some help, if you want the free 14 lessons, just get them. You want to do sessions with Tracy and I, it's by donation, so don't let the money issue stop you. There's a lot of help, and it's just so beautiful that you are claiming your power and your authority, because when you get to the point of really knowing you're in the oneness field, then every time you look at another person, you're looking in the eyes of God. And that is awe and mystery. And then you get so powerfully caught up in it, you look in the mirror and God's looking back at you. And that's an exquisite place. And I'm just so excited you're going to be availing yourself to becoming your authentic self.
Peter DeBenedittis, you are awesome. And for those listening, I will place all of the links below to your website, Becoming Awesome. And thank you so much for being on the show. Appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you. Blessings to everyone.
Thank you for joining me on the Journey Mindfulness podcast, where we explore the edges of consciousness, the depth of the soul, and the practices that bring it all into daily life. If you enjoyed today's conversation, follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you're ready to go deeper, I offer a free consultation to explore how we can work together through psychotherapy, quantum healing, or one-on-one transformational coaching. Visit JourneyMindfulness.com to learn more and schedule your free consultation. Until next time, stay present, stay curious, and enjoy the journey.